y'all would take this time, put your cell phones on silent, vibrate, all your electronic devices. Thank you.
Ready, Ms. Sue? Good morning. I'd like to call to order the December 2nd, 2014 City of Statesboro City Council meeting. I'm going to ask Councilman Gary Lewis to please lead us in our invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Bow your head, please. Oh, gracious Father, we come to you this morning saying thank you. We thank you for the wonderful Thanksgiving that we had. We thank you for life today. Oh, Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless this city, this county, and this state. Bless the whole country, Father. Without you, we know we're nothing. Can you do anything without you, God? We ask you to be a fence around us and protect us every day. Lead us, guide us during this meeting to make the right decisions for all citizens. And these blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
I bear allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Sue, do we have anybody that's asked to make a public comment under agenda item 3? Okay. I want to start by welcoming the introduction to political science class that's visiting us this morning. Is this your final grade? Is this your final? No, I'm sorry. I was hoping for your sake it was. But anyway, welcome. I hope you'll stay. We have a regular council meeting that will be unfolding this morning. And then after that, we have a public work session on our alcohol ordinance potential revisions. And so obviously, if you'd like to stay for that, you're certainly welcome to do so. I would encourage you to do so. Was anybody in this room at the protest march last night? Okay. Well, congratulations for getting up and being here. That was till about 9:30 or so. I thought it was well done, and I was glad that I attended. Agenda item 4 is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll take a moment and let council review that, and then ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 5 is public hearing for the purpose of hearing input regarding a redevelopment plan pursuant to the Redevelopment Powers Law as provided for in Chapter 44 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia to establish the City of Statesboro Tax Allocation District Number 1, Downtown TAD. Let me just reiterate, this is simply a public hearing. There will not be a vote taken today. I'd ask Mr. Alan Mulder to please step forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're excited and pleased with the progress we've made. We're fortunate to have Jonathan Gerber here with Blakely Advisories, and as you notice, this is just a information public hearing on our map. We've sent out information to the council, and basically this is just kind of our first introduction to this. It was passed in November 4th for redevelopment powers in the city. We appreciate our community having the vision to see us go forward with what we hope to be as a great redevelopment plan that we will start implementing over the years. And I appreciate the mayor's lead and Councilman Boyan taking a lead in this, and other council for their input and efforts in helping us get this approved. So other than that, I got Mr. Jonathan here to highlight a few things.
Mayor, members of council, thank you for taking the time. We have prepared a draft redevelopment plan that I see you all have that was submitted yesterday, and so please take some time to look at it. What I want to be clear about this plan is the section 3 in there. That is all the legal requirements that the Redevelopment Powers Act require for this. Sections 1 and 2 are kind of color commentary that'll be wrapped around it just to demonstrate that you guys have all done the adequate planning work to get to this point. The purpose of this plan, this tax allocation district, will be to use as a tool to catalyze positive change and redevelopment in the South Main corridor at downtown Statesboro. What we're hoping to achieve is an improved gateway into downtown Statesboro, implementation of the Blue Line concept of streetscape, sidewalk, and civic enhancement, improved transportation infrastructure, sidewalks, and streetscapes, enhanced quality of life for residents, workers, visitors, and students, increased opportunities for economic activity within Statesboro and Bullitt County, improved housing options, commercial buildings, and public space, redevelopment of blighted and vacant structures, higher property values and property tax revenues for Statesboro, Bullitt County, and Bullitt County schools, and increased commercial and retail activity, which will boost sales taxes. At this point, I'd like to answer any questions you may have, or from the general public.
Can you explain to council just the process that we're gonna go through this week and next week, and what that means, and what will happen once we hopefully finalize it next meeting?
Yeah, so we take comments from the public here, and then we have 2 weeks of the next meeting for you guys to review this plan, and for the public to comment on it, and then there will be another hearing on the 16th, and then it'll be brought before the council for a vote at that date. Once that vote is approved, that means that the city itself approves the tax, and that the city can use the city's share of property tax revenue to support TAD activities. At that point, you have the option to continue to get currency from the county and or the school board to get them to participate in the TAD as well, but that will be a separate process that will need to be done. Once the TAD is approved within these boundaries, and we've gone through a process with you guys the last several weeks, and this is the boundary we're working with. The current sales tax or property taxes that are coming from properties within that boundary will continue to flow to the general fund, but any growth within that specific area will be channeled into a special TAD fund and rechanneled into public investment within the TAD area for up to 25 years, or any point you guys decide to terminate the TAD district, which you're free to do at any time.
Would you, all of us up here, we've obviously had, I guess when Alan was selling this to us and showing us, you know, we've layered and layered and layered. Would you give an example? That way, I think what you just said was that's what we've heard. Be very specific and say, I think that way the general public understands that you say very specifically, you know, a property in TAD next year does this, here's what money they get.
I'd be happy.
That makes a little more sense.
I'll make up numbers. The numbers aren't going to work here because I can't do property tax in my head, but let's say you have a junky vacant lot within the TAD area. It's been a junky vacant lot for 20 years. If nobody does anything to that area, it will probably continue being a vacant lot for a while, unless for some reason there's a reason to develop there. Let's say the city took some of the money from the tax allocation district and put in park space or new trees there, or improved the roadway corridor, or even encourage a developer, look, you're going to build something out of town there. I'll tell you what, if you build on this lot within our downtown area we want to see redeveloped, we can help you through the sewage infrastructure, or help get some roads, turn in a new traffic signal for you. Use public money to help make that area more desirable. That area could then conceivably go from a junky vacant lot that's not producing any tax revenue to a nice 2-3-story mixed-use commercial building that would give people stores, restaurants, shops, apartments, condominiums, or townhouses. In doing so, it would increase the value of that property, generate more value flowing into the tax allocation district, which would then create more money to do public investment within that area. After the 20-year period where that goes on all over the place, then the area inside the tax would be much more productive from a tax revenue perspective, and also in terms of quality of life and civic use. And at that point, after 20 or 25 years, whenever you guys decide to lapse the tax district, that money would flow all back into the general fund. So if the area right now, without a lot of activity, is making, let's say, $500,000 a year in tax revenue, you pump some money into it and get development going, get people excited about it, property rates go up, density increases, then at the end of the period, you're making $2 or $3 million a year from it, rather than the $500 you're making right now.
And the money that we get, the money that we put into these projects before, obviously, there's an increase, comes from what?
There is no money before there's an increase.
That's the other thing I was trying to kind of tell
It's
people.
a spiral. At the beginning, if you pass this tomorrow, you'd have $0 in the tax fund. Then there would be sort of a general background growth, 1%, 2% a year, but then first development, the pops, any increased tax revenue. And again, so if that lot is currently making $50,000 in property tax payment, that $50,000 will continue to go into the general fund through the life of the TAP. But if they make it into a $70,000 building, then that extra 20 gets fed into the tax allocation district and reinvested in the area.
And this doesn't affect the property owner.
No.
That's what folks need to
So
understand.
property owners would not see any difference. They continue paying the same taxes they always would. It's only at the back end accounting, whether the money goes in the general fund or whether the TAD revenue earned within the district gets channeled into a TAD bank account, which can then only be spent within the district.
Would anybody like to come speak on this project or this potential passing of this TAD district and TAD documentation? Anybody from the public have a question, like to speak? Does council have any questions?
I think another key element is the fact that we might be able to get the county and the Board of Education for some tax dollars to invest inside the city, which we typically wouldn't have.
Right, the county and the school boards would also benefit from this in that the general growth within the district and also just outside the district would end up going back into the county at the end of the TAD period. And also a lot of the revenue for the county and schools comes from sales taxes, and so this would increase sales tax revenue within town by creating more economic activity.
Good to go? Anybody have any questions, any comments? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Agenda item 6 is a consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2014-39, a resolution pursuant to the City of Statesboro grant policy allowing the City of Statesboro and the Avery Arts Center to act as co-applicants and submit application to the National Endowment for the Arts, Our Town Arts Engagement and Placemaking Grant Award Program for the development of a city-owned alleyway located between 58 and 62 East Main Street as part of the Georgia State University City of Statesboro Fabrication Laboratory and Business Innovation Center for the purpose of the development of the alleyway as a covered pedestrian and outdoor programming space. Mandy, could you please speak to that project? Or excuse me, to that grant application consideration?
Yes, ma'am. This is a part of our Fab Lab, one of our funding tools and mechanisms that we hope to pursue to bring that entire project together. This is an opportunity that came to us through DBRED. I'd like to thank Dr. Dominic Halliday for bringing this to our attention, and Tim Chapman and his team at the Avery Center. We've all been working together to submit this application by December 15th. The funds from this, if awarded, would be used directly to develop the alleyway as a covered pedestrian space. The designs for that you all have seen, they're very nice, I think. The match, the dollars that would be invested are actually coming from two sources, neither of which are city funds. One is the sustainability grant that Dr. Halliday and his team were able to secure for us for a living wall as part of that alley design in the amount of $19,650, and the award of that grant was just made yesterday. So congratulations, Dr. Halliday. Good job, thank you for that. And the remainder of the match for this application will be in private contributions. Councilman William is leading an effort there to have one of our local industries donate a substantial amount of materials for this alleyway construction, and the value of those materials would be used as additional match for this grant application. Pursuant to our policy, the mayor and the city manager can sign those applications. The city cannot commit to them without a vote of the council. We're putting that forward for you today so that we can finalize the application and submit by the December 15th deadline.
And Mandy, because I think I asked this to Robert, tell me what the city's potential commitment is here. Is it in gift in kind or is it in actual money?
The city's obligation here, Mayor, will actually be an administration of the grant. So it'll be staff time and work to administer the terms of the grant over both the application process and the award process, and obviously continue our construction oversight and work in the development of the project as a whole. I do not anticipate, nor have I asked for any dollars from the city to be committed to this. The dollars are coming from the sustainability grant that was awarded, as well as the match from the private industry. We don't foresee any city dollars being committed.
I'd actually asked, when I saw this on the agenda, I'd asked Robert to kind of keep us a running total, because I know that it can be a double-edged sword. Grants are a wonderful thing, but a lot of them obligate you to potential exposure as far as to what you have to put in, and I know we've been fortunate lately to have been doing, or trying to do a lot of those.
We have, and I would add to that, Mayor, that grants are a very burdensome administrative process. They take a lot of time and effort from all of those involved. Dr. Halby and his team have donated their efforts to writing this grant application, and I very much appreciate that. That's a big job, and administering them takes several members of the staff, whatever team, whatever department is actually responsible for the oversight. Purchasing gets heavily involved in grants, and finance also gets heavily involved in grants, so it takes a lot of time and team effort.
Do we have any questions from council regarding this particular resolution? Okay, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2014-39?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2014-39.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consideration of a motion to approve or deny a 90-day temporary alcohol license to Stephen Allen Reed of the Walmart Stores East in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 6-34A of the City of Statesboro Code of Ordinance. Alvin,
My understanding is that's for a temporary license, and there's some hardship there in enduring right now, because it was on the basis of the grant of a temporary license. I don't suspect Walmart will get its alcohol license in the future, so we'll explain why that's.
okay.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, council members. My name is Mike Sard. I'm an attorney at Sard and Left Attorneys, represent Walmart, represent them for several years all across the state with their alcohol licensing. I'm here with Steve Reed. Mr. Reed is the proposed applicant and the manager of the Walmart neighborhood market. And I'm here with Mike Basile. Mr. Basile is the superintendent for the general contractor for the build out of the store. We have our annual alcohol license application has been pending since early October. What's happening here is Walmart's a public company. Projected opening date of the store is December 17th. These dates are very hard and fast dates with Walmart. Hidden dates impacts their stock potentially. This is something that happens system-wide. When Walmart's opening a neighborhood market, this is a 44,000 square foot grocery store that's in the market district here in town. It's very important for orchestrating all inventory coming in, particularly in a supermarket like this. Every single product is orchestrated on a timeline to meet that December 17th opening date. On December 15th, we have a Friends and Family event where we actually train our staff. So that really is the goal, to get our alcohol, which will probably be our last good, delivered to the store. That's even after the fruits and vegetables and meats. After we get an alcohol license from you at the city, we've still got to get a beer and wine license from the state through the Georgia Department of Revenue Alcohol and Tobacco Division. A quirk in the way the state process works, if one applies for distilled spirits, you can apply for that license at the same time you apply for your local license, and the two kind of meet at the end of the process. So when you don't apply for distilled spirits, you can't apply for your beer and wine license without having that local license in hand. So when we're finished here and receive an alcohol license from you, we still have a process to deal with at the state level. And that state process this time of year takes about 2 weeks. It's normally about a 7 to 10 day period, but this is the time of year where alcohol licenses are renewed in the state. They all have to be renewed by, renewals have to be by November 1. So our experiences with the Georgia Department of Revenue Alcohol and Tobacco Division is really at their peak of peak demand where they're handling all their work. So when we're done here with you, we've still got another process to go through, and all this is happening in this very tight time frame. It's important to Walmart and to Walmart's customers to have a full array of products on opening day. While alcohol, beer and wine is actually a small part of what's being sold in the store, it actually has an impact to the bottom line. When a customer comes in, they expect to be able to buy a full complement of goods, fill their grocery basket when they come to the store. And if you're missing a product, the customer walks in and says, hey, I was able to buy something that I want, I'm not coming back to the store. You lose that customer for a period of time. So like a lot of businesses, it's important to have a full complement of products. The delay here, why we don't have our annual license, as we understand it, I think primarily has to do with things beyond our building. Your fire department cleared our building for their certificate of occupancy back on November 17th, specifically so that our alcohol license process can move forward. As we understand it, the primary issue is things around the market district, not the Walmart neighborhood market. For example, grass on adjacent property hasn't grown in, it was seeded, all the Walmart grass is in and is sodded. And that has prevented us from getting a full certificate of occupancy. We do have a temporary certificate of occupancy. So what does grass have to do with alcoholic beverages? In my mind, I don't think really anything. But we're here because we're trying to get our store open, to try to get our 76 employees fully up to speed and trained on time so that we can meet our opening. If you have questions about operations or about anything that we do with alcohol, we'll try to, Mr. Reed and I will try to answer it. If you have questions about build out, Mr. Seal will try to answer it. We greatly appreciate receiving temporary alcohol license so that we can keep our process moving.
Ms. Sue, I guess the only question still don't quite understand, I agree with you on the grass issue, so what exactly whose signature do they need for this to be a legitimate, go ahead and get your application now?
The checklist that we have, the fire department has not signed off on it. They haven't sent us the approval, so that was holding it up.
So they can't have a CO yet?
Oh, I don't know, the CO, they can't have a temporary alcohol license. I don't know if the certificate occupancy was, given or not.
I get it.
That I checked it.
We're about to have a work session, so that's probably not a bad thing. What is it about the fire department that I guess is not ready to sign off on the alcohol?
You would have to ask.
That's why I'm kind of looking right past you. You probably noticed that. Where you're seated, I'm directly on either side of them. I had both of them. I'm trying to kind of just figure out, and that's something that apparently that we need to address after this meeting and the ordinances. And unless we're tying an alcohol license to a CO, an alcohol license needs to be something that you get, and you can sit on it for 90 days, as long as your CO doesn't extend beyond, a certain amount of days. So I'm just trying to figure out why the city council not go ahead and issue them a license.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I asked Miss Sue, I said, I don't get, there's nobody else that we call that issues a temporary license. I mean, how many people did you call, Sue? I asked you, I said, what is with this temporary license? Nobody does this.
Well, Savannah, Valdosta, Bahia, Baker, and none of them did this.
Madam Mayor, there are plenty of temporary licenses throughout the state. Atlanta, Fulton County, City of Roswell, Brookhaven, Peachtree Corners, Sandy Springs. There's a large number of them. So it's great that you have something like this in your process, because it's very helpful to business. A lot of times the alcohol licensing process is very long, and this helps businesses get in business and stay in business. So your process isn't really anything unusual statewide.
So going back to Councilman Britt's question, what's holding up this being signed off on?
I learned of the concern late yesterday afternoon, and I have Chief Colson here, which has been directly involved with the project. In the past, we have done this sort of process working with companies to allow them not to be held up. The fire department does have to have that final inspection once all the stock is in and you know, it's ready to be opened up to the public. In the past, the inspectors or the prevention officers sent an email saying that, yeah, we're fine with that. You can go ahead and let them proceed with the process, with the understanding that they will have to complete a final CO check and inspection before they open the doors to the public. Honestly, late yesterday afternoon, I got a phone call that there was some form that we needed to sign, which we were really kind of unaware of until yesterday afternoon. So I actually emailed Ms. Sue early this morning about trying to get together to make sure that we get on the same page. Because we have followed the same process we always have, and we weren't really aware that there was some piece of paper that needed the fire department signature, which we will be fine to sign. We just don't really know what that piece of paper.
What is that piece of paper, Tim?
Mayor, I don't know.
Is it one of our pieces of paper or somebody else's pieces of paper?
Mayor, I think I explained some clarity.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm not trying to be funny, but it's a mystery piece of paper.
Beer doesn't really burn. So, I mean, I'm just thinking.
Right. Again, all I can tell you to this point, with what limited information I've received late yesterday afternoon, is that we followed the same process we have with all the other cases that we've had like this, similar to this. And there's never been, I guess, any concerns raised. And again, I don't know if there's been a breakdown of a new process or change in the process that we might not have been fully aware of or aware of. But again, again, I have Chief Colson, which I rely on heavily to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to follow the laws and the guidelines that we do. But we don't have a problem with allowing them to move forward. The only thing that we want to make sure that Walmart understands, and they have been, fully cooperating with us, is that final CO inspection would have to occur before they could open up their doors to the public. And that's the only thing that we want to make sure is in place. But as far as them proceeding and trying to get ready and open up and stock their shelves, there's no problem on the fire department in it.
Okay, thank you.
I think Councilman Britt's point is well noted. We're sort of looking at our alcohol ordinance, so you're sort of caught up in this sideline debate. You're sort of conflating a certificate of occupancy with the alcohol license. We don't necessarily need to do that. We can issue an alcohol license, but they'll never be able to sell anything to anybody until we issue the certificate of occupancy. So those things don't necessarily need to be coupled together. We can go ahead and say you have all the rights and privileges to sell alcohol, but you can't let anybody in your doors until you get your certificate of occupancy.
Yeah, it's all like,
And we frown on selling it in the parking lot, just so you
I
know.
think we're allowed to sell it.
And I don't know, Mandy had something that.
I do. I think there's some confusion there that I hope I can bring some clarity to. Walmart Neighborhood Market has a temporary certificate of occupancy. They may occupy the property for the exact purposes they're there for now, which is training their staff, stocking their shelves, etc. And the fire department did timely approve the temporary CO. As the gentleman stated, the only outstanding issue between a temporary CO and a permanent CO for this particular project has to do with some storm drainage, grassing that just needs some time to grow in, and we can do a final inspection on that. What the neighborhood market store does not have is an occupational tax certificate, which we call a business license. And the fire department cannot do their final inspection for that business license until all of the stocking and the inventory and the setup of the building is finalized, so they can check things like ingress and egress and emergency exits and things of that nature. So that's what Chief Colson needs to get in the door to do. And as of yesterday afternoon late, when I was checking on this, Walmart was not ready for that. So I think the quandary for Ms. Sue in the clerk's office is issuing an alcohol license of a permanent nature to a facility that doesn't have a business license. And they can't we cannot give them a permanent business license until they are fully set up, ready to open their doors to the public, and the fire chief can get in with his team and do that final inspection for that business license. So the question is, can Walmart Neighborhood Market have a permanent, or excuse me, a alcohol license without having a business license?
I think so.
Alan, do we have the right as this council to grant them a liquor, a beer and wine license today?
No, you have no authority to grant a license.
That's what I'm saying. So we can just
That
do it.
belongs to the clerk. You only have
We can do
authority to grant
temporary.
temporary license.
All right. Rock and roll.
And that's why
I
came
think
here.
one more relevant point that I want to bring into this is that this property would also be under the jurisdiction of the state of Georgia Fire Marshal's Office, which we have been working with. So they will have to conduct that same inspection that we do. Now, we have a great relationship with that office, and probably what will happen is that the state will take Chief Colson's inspection as their inspection, which is something that we've built over a period of time. So, you know, it's the fire service, again, on our end, is not necessarily trying or having problems with them moving forward with the process. Again, our only, I guess, thing left to do would be to make that final inspection so that they can open the doors to the public and everything is in place for the public's safety.
So basically, you're following the same process we have followed with new businesses trying to get a liquor license.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did nothing different.
Okay.
But we recognized that there was a hiccup, and so that's why we brought it here for the temporary. And since we're working on the ordinance, we were gonna meet and work that out. It's just they were caught in between.
This is not an uncommon situation, Mayor, for a business to be in that they have to have a city license before they can enter into the state licensing process, and on their timelines, trying to get one ahead of the other, get everything before an opening date. We often run into this sort of situation.
Okay. Do I have consideration of a motion to approve a 90-day temporary alcohol license to Stephen Allen Reed of the Walmart Stores East?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Agenda item 8, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2014-41, appointing David McClendon to the vacant seat on the Statesboro Planning Commission. Mandy.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a vacancy on the Statesboro Planning Commission. We have a 7-member board that you all know reviews land use decisions, particularly zonings and variances, before they come to you all for final consideration. We are asking that vacancy be filled. We brought this to you some time back, and it was asked that we publicize that vacancy and offer applications. We did so, and of the qualifying applications received, Pastor David McClendon is the one that we brought to you. And Pastor McClendon has offered his services to the Planning Commission. He's been a member of our community for quite a while now, very actively involved, and we would ask that you consider his application for appointment. He is here with us this morning. Do you all have any questions for him?
I don't see Mr. Pastor McClendon. There you are. Can you stand up and introduce yourself?
Good morning, David
Good
McClendon.
morning.
Great job. Clearly qualified.
He really qualifies. He's much more long-winded on Sunday, but
Well, I'll just ask you, what is your interest in serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I'm involved with the city as far as the DSDA goes with Mulder, and my wife works with Mr. Mulder, and he's always involved in stuff in the city, and from that aspect, very concerned about the quality of life here because I live here and I want it to be better, and this looked like a way I could get involved. And I spoke with Nick Props about kind of what this commission does, and it seemed like the thing to do, so I spoke with Mandy, emailed with Mandy a little bit, like to help make Statesboro a better place.
Okay, does anybody have a question for Mr. McClendon? Okay, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2014-41?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Agenda item 9, consideration of a motion to award a purchase contract to Roberts Truck Center for a lowboy trailer in the amount of $54,239. Mr. Franklin, if you could please address council on that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
As usual, we advertised the product for 2-week period required. Sent bid packages to all area dealers that dealt with this type of equipment. Tried to work the specifications to reach a fair balance, not getting what we need and not eliminating anybody unnecessarily. With that, $65,000 was budgeted for this trailer. It'll be used to transport heavy equipment around the city and off-site for repairs to Savannah or Augusta, wherever the site may be. We obviously recommend in this case Roberts Truck Center for $54,239. Any questions with that answer?
It's gonna be the proud owners and an eager beaver.
Yeah, apparently. Well, you think this is exciting, wait till we get to the straw blower. Seriously, did I not? Darren, have questions about the straw blower?
You did inquire about that.
Yes, I did. Do I have any questions of Mr. Prather? Okay, do I have a motion to award a purchase contract to Roberts Truck Center for a low void trailer in the amount of $54,239?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Agenda item 10, consideration of a motion to award a contract to purchase a road tractor. I guess from Savannah Freightliner in the amount of $112,051. Mr. Prather.
At the same advertising period as when the trailer was used, this will come out of the GMA lease pool. This level of truck, nobody locally, none of the local car dealers build this level of truck, so we sent it to all relevant dealers in the area. And what you'll notice is there is a bid that's slightly lower than Savannah Freightliner, but it did not qualify based on axle capacity that we asked for, nor was the cab, the aluminum configuration we asked for. This aluminum's important because we plan to keep this item for probably 20+ years, and it will not corrode, and the durability is a lot higher. So with that, we recommend Savannah Freightliner at a bid of $112,051.
Okay, do I have a motion to award a contract to purchase a road tractor from Savannah Freightliner in the amount of $112,051? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Why don't you stand up there, Darren? We're gonna go ahead to 12, because I just can't wait to get to this one. Consideration, we're gonna move to 12 and come back to 11. Of a motion to award a purchase contract to the Finn Corporation via the Houston Galveston area buyers contract to purchase a straw blower in the amount of $23,586.50.
Well, first I will describe what the HGAC contract is. It's the same contract that we bought the street sweeper off of. It's a grouping of 13 county, cities in the Houston Galveston area that form their own contract, and we have the right to copy or piggyback their contracts for our ordinance. We felt like it was a good deal. We basically gained the volume discount of that area's large purchasing power. Now to describe what this does, it basically blows straw on work sites and landfill areas that we have to grass over to avoid erosion. Part of the places, 100 people throwing straw manually, but I will refer to Jason for some in-depth details on this item.
I want a christening of this straw blower.
Yeah, they're pretty much covered, and that's exactly what it does. It just takes straw bales and it just shreds them and disperses them across the bare soil.
And I would suspect we're mandated by state and probably some federal standards to abate erosion on both closed and active landfill services.
Are we replacing a dilapidated straw blower?
replacing laborers.
Okay. That was my question. So we're going into new technology,
Progressive.
progressive, okay.
And this contract, you know, it is issued a contract number through HGAC. We would purchase it through the Penn Corporation via the HGAC contract.
Yeah, it's a widely known corporation. You see a lot of good products in the area of contractors.
Any questions from council?
I'd like to see it in action once it,
You can do both.
once you get put it to use, I'd like to see it thing.
We'll set up a demo.
We ought to take it to the stadium and shoot t-shirts out of
It might come out in pieces.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to award a purchase contract to Defend Corporation via the Houston Galveston Area Council buyer's contract to purchase a straw blower in the amount of $23,586.50?
So moved.
I guess we got to buy it to see it work.
Yeah.
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm kind of thinking, can we use it to create fake snow?
We probably could.
Yeah, okay, all right. Second. Move back to agenda item 11, which is a consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2014-40, appointing Carol Knight to the tree board of the city of Statesboro. Mr. Cheshire.
If y'all recall at a previous meeting, we let you know that Tommy Strickland had to resign from the tree board, and we do have a person, Carol Knight, who's very interested, very knowledgeable in trees and landscaping. She would like to be on the tree board. Would like to have her on there, so it's their recommendation as well as mine that we put her on, place her on the tree board by approving her today.
Is Ms. Knight here?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2014-40?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We'll move to agenda item 13, other business from city council. Thank you, Ms. Sue. I would like to give an update and then ask, after I do this, if we have any other business from city council. Attorney Tom Peterson's open meeting investigation that began last July following the termination of City Manager Frank Parker. That investigation is indeed in. That report has been issued. It will be available to the public on December the 4th. I believe there are a total of 49 pages in the report, 48 pages of the report, and there's a cover email to it that I included to make it 49. It costs 10 cents per page. If you'd like to get that from Ms. Sue. Which would come to $4.90, and maybe Ms. Sue, we can put a cover page on that and make it even $5. Because I know you don't want to make change. Put a roll of dimes in there, but anyway, it will be available to the public. It has been disseminated to council, mayor, and to our city attorney and city manager, and it will be available to the public on December the 4th. Does council have any questions regarding that? Just so y'all know, the reason December the 4th is the date is that we have 10 days from the time it's been issued to us in which to release it. And that will be within that time period to do so. To the public. Do I have any questions from council on that? Okay. That's all I have. Does council have any other business that they'd like to bring forward? Okay. We'll move to agenda item 14, which is the city manager's comments.
I've got just a few brief ones. I was contacted yesterday by Congressman-elect Rick Allen. He would like to utilize John Barrow's old office on the first floor. I don't have a problem with it. I did ask city clerk and city attorney if we had any specific arrangements or agreements with Mr. Barrow, and they knew of none. I'm fine with it. So, but I'd like to just make y'all aware and see if you had any thoughts.
Cindy, did Congressman Barrow contribute anything towards building up, keep, anything?
No, ma'am.
Not a dime.
No, sir.
Well, it was initially set up by us to just be a legislative office to let them utilize it. Somehow it turned into Congress or hanging flag. So,
When, just out of curiosity, when was that set up, y'all, as a legislative office, do you remember?
2 years, about 2 years ago.
Okay.
so all the legislators were supposed to use it. Just for clarification.
It was our office for about 15 minutes. And then it became theirs.
And so was Matthew in there the whole entire time?
Pretty much, most likely.
Okay. So this is an opportunity to decide what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I think he had the impression, that he would be the one utilizing it, and he talked about it being his two staff.
I would say it was very handy having a congressman in the lobby when we needed to cut through some red tape at the United States Post Office.
Yeah.
They were very helpful in constituent services, really nonpartisan, help a lot of people. So they work a lot of services to the citizens and to us to deal with those.
So the translation would be, it's good to have your congressman right there. Okay. Or a representative of your congressman right there.
There can be no political activities carried on. I think that was very clear from the start. We're not seeing this with campaign posts or campaign purely so citizens could come in. He helped a lot of veterans down there, things like that. That was the purpose of it. It's not a political campaign sort of thing. It's merely to assist the constituents in his district with dealing with federal agencies. So he helped us deal. But for his assistance, we probably never gotten that full easement. Post office needed to construct that. Street state.
Did we ever offer that to, senators?
I don't know where it stopped. That was the initial intent, and that's what happened.
You're
Not
Do you
opposed,
think
not opposed
he
to it,
asked permission from anybody?
and it always, never mind, I'm not gonna say that.
You know, I shouldn't have, that was loaded.
That's what you feel about it, and then
So, how does council feel? Do we want to offer Mr. Allen, the ability to move a staff member in there?
Congressional member use it, now that he's a different party, I don't think it's meaningless, he can now use what John Barrow used. Moving on.
you feel about it.
We all think.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'll forward that information, thanks. And then Mandy's gonna give a brief update. Y'all challenged us on a couple occasions to meet with the county, which we've been trying to do, to discuss the capital cost recovery district. Mandy, I think, had a good meeting with one of the planners yesterday, and I wanted her to give you a brief update, and I've got one last item after that.
We do have it, as the treasurer asked me to, at your all's instruction and request with Andy Wells for Wood County yesterday, was talk specifically about the capital cost recovery district. My intention yesterday was to really hear from the county regarding their priorities and the wish list for that particular district. Many of you all had asked for master planning to take place in that particular area. I came away with a good list of items that are of concern to them. I think you all will share some of those particular concerns. And we are now exchanging, I don't want to use the term even rough draft, but maybe some bullet points and outlines of thoughts of things and items which need to be covered in some future agreements between the city and the county in regard to that area. It may even blossom into a more of an annexation agreement that has some special provisions for the boundaries that we now know of as the CCR. So we will be exchanging those communications. in the days and weeks to come, and then we can bring that to you all. Our hope is to have a joint document that the staff of the city and the staff of the county agree upon to present it to those of you governing boards, with some unanimous recommendations. I would ask that if you all have any particular areas of concern that you wish to have addressed or outlined in that agreement, if you would please communicate those to Mr. Cheshire so he can get those to me, and I can cover those as we're moving forward in the next couple of weeks.
Couple things, Betty. Number one is, what sort of a timeline have you and the county sort of put forward as to when you want to work through this process and come up with something to present?
As soon as possible.
So, I mean, are we talking in 2 weeks, in 1 month, in 2 months? What do you think?
I think that, Mayor, if you give me some guidance on when you'd like us to present it, maybe in a work session, or if you want me to have a working committee, however you want to do it, then we can meet that goal.
Okay, I mean, and obviously the reason I ask is there's a lot of interest in that railroad bed area, so, you know, we'd like to be able to at least tell folks if you're interested in it, we'll come forth with some guidelines for you within a couple of months or something. So do you think a couple of months is a doable?
Oh, yes, ma'am. The city staff, we've been reviewing this document for quite some time now, so our thoughts are secure in what we would recommend to you all moving forward. We're ready to present it, put ours together on a piece of paper and present that to Bullitt County for consideration, or to you all for consideration. So however you all want to move, we'll make that happen.
Now, let's just say for argument's sake that city council agrees with the recommendations that are made, the county agrees with the recommendations that are made. At that point, are we going to sign a new agreement? Because that's my point, because the agreement that we have now would not suffice, is my assumption.
Yeah, we'd like to bring it back in front of this group and make sure that y'all are okay with it before we come up with it.
And at that point, that will provide council and the county with development guidelines going forward in that area that are amenable to the DCA?
Yeah.
Okay. Would that require any kind of amendment to our current comprehensive plan?
Comprehensive plan needs to be reviewed and updated regardless of the activity in the CCR district, because we're at our 5-year update. And if you all recall, we approved the draft we sent for technical review to the Department of Community Affairs, and we need to bring that draft in front of this body for approval to meet the guidelines and requirements of the Department of Community Affairs. Those are complementary and containing matters, but they are distinct from one another. On the CCR district, your question was, will it meet the technical requirements of DCA? Yes and no. Yes, in that we are free to enter into intergovernmental agreements if you're planning and annexation and things of that nature between the city and the county under Georgia law. But if a development goes into that district that is of a certain size and triggers a threshold, it will have to be reviewed as a development of regional impact by the DCA regardless of the CCR agreement.
Okay.
Anything else on that? And then my last one, I'm gonna recognize Cindy West, who is acting as our liaison with the Arts Council, and she just got a brief update of some of their goings on.
Good morning. So far, the first 5 months of this fiscal year has seen a 28% increase over last fiscal year. Last year they had participation of 29,838. They are currently seeing 37,948. The center has had 4 professional presentations, and they have all been very well attended. The center has had 3 professional exhibitions. Currently, there are over 500 youth and adults taking classes, and this is the largest year for participation in any of their programs. They have been involved in 9 community development events, including festivals, Veterans Day, First Fridays. They have offered 4 special events, some of which are the ghost tours and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And the 40 West Main Street project is almost complete. It should be completed in January with a ribbon cutting in March.
And then finally, just a reminder, in addition to the work session that we've got immediately following today's meeting, we've got a work session at the next council meeting prior to it. That'll be December 16th at 4 o'clock. And at that, we will have presentations from the Arts Council, Statesboro Convention and Visitor Bureau and also the DSDA. They'll give you updates of how their year ended and how they're moving forward. So just encourage all the council members here to be there so you can hear those. Thanks.
Okay, is that it for your report? Ms. Sue, do we have anybody that's asked to make a public comment under agenda item 15? Okay. Agenda item 16, and let me explain this to the class that's here today. We're going to consider a motion to enter into executive session, in which case chambers are cleared except for council and the folks that would apply to be here for that, for the period of the executive session. So just so you know, do I have a motion?
Mayor, before we
Sure.
do that, Tom has asked me, Izo has asked his class, first of all, thanks for being here. When y'all are done, to go and meet at the steps of City Hall. He's assuming half of you will stay and do that, so I just want y'all to know that.
That's your escape route. Do I have a consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss potential litigation? Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes. Okay, we back on Sue? All right, do I have a motion from council to exit executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to enter back into our regular council meeting? Do I have a second? Any discussion? Please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now there was no action taken in executive session. Do I have a consideration of a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, y'all want to take a quick break? You want to go ahead and enter into alcohol work session?
Some time to set up and things.